Geekly! This week, we talk about 5 future geeky things we're excited about. I'm going to talk about my new otoscope. And we introduce Pretzel. And now your host, Mike Indeglio.
What's up, team? It's me, Mike Indeglio. That's Keith Varney. And this is K&M Geekly. Just a sneak peek at some of the things that these geeks are geeking on to get them through their week. And Keith, it is officially Friday. So we're actually ending our week. For all y'all out there, it's a case of the Mondays. But no fear, we are here to help you, get through it. With this week, even less preparation than is generally...
None whatsoever. None whatsoever today. But, look, I think the charm of our show is that it's a free-flowing conversation. That's really what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
anytime we try to have topics, it's kind of a mess.
Well, I actually put some pictures in, and I narrowed down my search of 5 things I'm looking forward to, Keith. For me, I don't know if this is the way it works for you. I like my life. I like what's going on, but I generally like to set tent poles of things I'm pumped for. My brother and I, like, be it Christmas, be it holidays, be it something But nowadays, it's like movies I want to see, shows that are debuting, games I want to buy, stuff like that. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about this week. But before that, Keith, you've got a roommate that I think has returned home to you.
Yes, indeed. And that is my co-host today, Pretzel.
Pretzel, what's up?
Pretzel is she's an 11-year-old Chihuahua. She's doing what she cares about most in the world, sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
She's an old Chihuahua. She is blind. She has no teeth.
Yeah.
And her back legs don't really work that well. However, she is a feisty little lady. And she is... all she cares about in the whole wide world is a warm place to sleep and 30 seconds of activity a day.
Well,
maybe
if you think about it,
yeah.
she's like an old Inuit, like an Alaskan Inuit, where generally at that age, this type of animal knows it's completely defenseless and would just go off into the wilderness to die. But you, Keith, have provided it a warm place to be safe. Can you imagine the feeling of safety that this dog feels? No wonder it just wants to sleep all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's Jillian's dog, and but she is the. I love her. She's incredibly sweet. She's an old dog. She knows what she likes.
Yeah, and that's snuggling that face in and putting a blanket on. I can't.
She's like wants to be on a human or in her donut. I think. We try to take her outside, but if it's like below 80 degrees, she's like, hell no. I don't want it. I have no interest in this whatsoever. And so we'll take her back out in the yard and she'll be like, okay, I'm ready. She goes right back to the house. She's able to find it because there's like a little bit of a slope, even though she's blind. So anyway, so I've got her for the weekend. So we're hanging out together here on K&M Geekly. If she has any geeky thoughts, I'll definitely, if she pokes her head up, we'll introduce. She's not going to do that. She's down for the count. She goes down for like 10 or 11 hours at a time. And she just went under. So we'll see her in the morning.
But 2 days ago in Geekly time, New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles. How do you think it all shook out?
Ooh, that's true. A little time machine. Here's what I think. I think we're the underdogs.
Well, yeah,
right?
Totally.
For sure. But I think we're going to keep it close. I think we're going to, our strategy is to keep it within one possession in the fourth quarter. And I think we're going to do that. And then it's going to come down to who makes a stop, who makes a turnover in the fourth quarter. I think, the law of football would say that this is going to come down in Philadelphia's hand. But I'm going to make a prognostication.
Okay,
here.
Cinderella story, Keith?
Well, we have the thrust of history against us, or working for us, actually. The New York Football Giants, since 1990, are 6-0 in the playoffs against the number 1 seed. 6-0 since 1990. So I think here it is. You heard it here first. New York Football Giants 27, Philadelphia Football Eagles 24.
So,
What's
Keith,
your
my
guess?
prediction is that people have been sleeping on the Eagles. They're rested up. I think that their offense shows up where it's supposed to be, and the defense is fired up. It's a home game. I think we're fired up. I think we win this comfortably. I think the Giants make a run later in the second half, make some adjustments and make a run, but I think the Eagles lead from the start. But, Keith, it's a harbinger of things to come. I think that your boy D. Jones, who everybody slept on, including Keith Varney.
I know. I owe the man an apology.
I think
100%.
this is his Cinderella story. I think he still plays a gutsy game, and he goes down and it turns the Giants fan base on its head. That's what I think. What comes out. But more importantly,
I think he's done that.
More importantly, one thing we can say in real time, and then we'll move on. Those sweet. I can still taste them, Keith. Can you taste them? Those sweet Tom Brady tears. You can't really beat them. There's nothing quite like those Tom Brady tears.
Just waft that. Hold on, let me check. Pretzel, do you have a guess on the game?
Pretzel's like, my guess is I'm not moving from now until then.
There's a good chance. I'm pretty confident that is what she's going to look like during the game tomorrow night, regardless of how much screaming might be happening from my basement here. Last week, my brother Eric came over and we lost our ever-loving mind during the Giants game. So I'm certainly hoping for something else like that. Mike, what's else on the tap today?
Okay, well, we're going to get into the things we're looking forward to first. But first, Keith, there's something that is already out. It's already happened. I've already tested it. And I'm putting it out there for you specifically.
Okay.
So NVIDIA is they're a maker of graphics cards, basically, is where they make their money. And, you can go out and spend $1,500 on the beefiest GPU possible, Keith, and crunch all those bits and trace those arrays and do all the things.
Yeah.
But that's not a Keith Varney special, right? That Keith's not a build the big PC gaming thing. I get that. I also don't game enough to really justify
I'm a console gamer.
Getting the next latest and greatest. However, I've been keeping my eye lately in the past couple of years on something called cloud gaming. So basically, there's these big, powerful rigs in the cloud, and then you stream it. But it's always been like a lag or a latency or this or that.
Right.
That keeps it. You're like, I'd rather just play my PlayStation. And whereas that stays true, I'd rather just play my PlayStation. There are some great things. It's nice to be able to see the fanciest bells and whistles, the shiniest bits and bobs, right? So anyway, NVIDIA's been doing their cloud gaming services called GeForce NOW. And basically what it does is they run their greatest rigs in the cloud, they serve it down to you, and they've said that they found a way to get latency down better than consoles. That's the way they're doing with this reflex technology. So currently, they just launched their ultimate tier. It's using an RTX 4090 in the cloud. That's like a $1,800 graphics card. Supports full 4K, full ray tracing, full 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
Via DLSS 3, all streamed down. You could run it on a Chromebook. You can run it on a PC, whatever you got, right?
I think that's where we're headed.
Yes.
Right?
That's what Stadia tried to do with Google, but Google just shut down Stadia yesterday. So,
really?
Yeah, it just was decided not to put any more resources in there. So people, but they refunded everybody's money on games and stuff.
Maybe that's not the future then.
Well, with your Netflix and your Amazon kind of building servers out and hoarding, I think they're just kind of playing a waiting game, but NVIDIA's not waiting. Cutting edge, bleeding edge. Anyway, long story short, they do it by...
So wait, I have a technical question.
Okay, go for it.
So when you're gaming, do you have a dedicated 4090 that you're playing on?
Yes.
So their scalability is going to be the issue.
Not really, because
how many
they
have?
They build out these little server pods, right? So they're basically, they have enough. It's just scale, and you'll see when we get to the pricing. So, long story short, I was a founding member on GeForce Now years ago. So they offered me a trial into their new thing. And for like a discounted price, I got 6 months to try it out. I'd forgotten that I did this about 3 months ago, but I got the email that they had launched the 4090 servers. I jumped on. Here's what I'm about to tell you guys.
Okay.
First to note, I have FiOS, so I have an incredible bandwidth. That's the first thing to note, caveat. They say they only require if you have a ping under 20 milliseconds or like 100 up and down. They say 30 megs up and down, or megabits. So that's most everybody gets that.
Do they need that much up?
No, you don't need that much up. So you, Keith, are in a perfect place for this. Guys, I ran an HDMI cable from the back of my PC here to my television over here, which is the one you have, Keith, the same TV. Yeah. Supports variable refresh rate, but I just locked it at 60 frames because I don't need more than that. This is it. Fully ray traced, full 4K, all of super ultra graphics settings. It's better than my PlayStation and my Microsoft.
All right, so
I'm not
from a technical standpoint, you're working off an app. It's not through a browser.
It's through your browser. Well, there's an app, but you can also go browser based. But regardless, there's dedicated apps for Mac and PC, so it doesn't matter.
Interesting. So because I do that so I can get 120 hertz on the HDMI going from the PC.
Yes,
I've got. So
you could run that if you run that cable, Keith. This is it. It has controller support, Xbox controller support, so you've got all the things. Now let me get to where I'm excited.
Yeah. Hit me. Oh, okay.
PlayStation is starting to release their biggest first-party games with like a 6 to 9 month delay on PC. So Keith, without buying a PlayStation, can actually access The Last of Us, Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Naughty Dog games, all on PC. Plus, it runs just about everything on Steam. So, like, it is game limited, so the game has to be supported on the service, so you have to check things. But for me, who only wants to play some things, it's really awesome. Now...
Okay, all right.
You got to start doing the math.
You have to purchase the games.
You got to purchase the games.
Okay.
And you have to purchase the service. So for the ultimate tier, I'm just talking ultimate tier. There are some sub tiers. Ultimate tier, it's $20 a month. So that's something. Or $99 for 6 months. So you're saving a bunch of money going that route. Well, you're saving like $30, right? Something like that in that area.
But we're $99 for the year. And, so if
$99 for 6 months. So you're talking $200 per year.
That's a lot.
It is, but that's for the ultimate tier. I don't know what the other tiers. Let's check the other tiers while we're here. We're doing it.
Because I'm thinking through. All right, so my Xbox Live subscription is what, $70 a year,
and you get a bunch of free games with that.
Yeah, you get some
GeForce Now. You get some free games too, I should say.
And the actual main games that I buy, what I do is I do the EA Sports or the EA subscription thingy, which is only like $35 a year, and you have access to their entire catalog, including their contemporary sports after like 6 months. So like I'm rocking all the like NHL and Madden 23s.
So for this 6 months at $100, you're getting the full rig, the 4090 rigs with ray tracing, which is, if you haven't seen ray tracing, and you probably haven't, is pretty spectacular. It's sort of, to me, like the difference between when we went from HD to 4K. There's a difference, or HDR.
Right.
HDR is supported on this, 120 frames per second. Okay, but if we set the tier down, priority tier, you get a premium rig with up to a 3080, priority access to premium servers, 6-hour play length, but then even if you get kicked off, you can always save your game. It's all cloud saved. You just jump off and jump back on, so it's not really a limitation. Up to 180p resolution, which will super sample. So if you put it onto your 4K TV, it will upscale. And up to 60 frames per second. So that is still a really achievable, full, really great gaming rig for $50 for 6 years, $100 for the year. So that's not bad.
Yeah, well, but that basically matches your Xbox.
Yeah. It just opens you up to PC gaming, which is a little...
PC gaming. Interesting.
Your Xbox ain't pumping out 60 frames per second on most games, unless you scale the graphics way down. So... yeah. It's just saying, it's just a window into that world.
Interesting. Keith. Yeah, I mean, because I feel like we're definitely headed there, because there's, it's for the same reason there's no DVDs anymore, for the same reason there's no cable box anymore. we're not going to have a gaming
Will I be giving you
console
my
whatsoever.
login and a copy of The Last of Us when it's available in a couple months? 100%.
100%. Well, I'll be excited to try that out. Like that'll be fun, especially since I can run it to the main TV.
All right, so now,
wow.
Why did I do that? So how do I go? Where do I I put everything? Yes, let's talk about some other things we're looking forward to.
Pretzel, how do you feel about cloud gaming? Let's get a mic down.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
She's into it.
Can't quite get the snoring.
You know what? I'm assuming Pretzel's gender. She is a she.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any assumptions, Keith. Okay. That all said, let's go ahead and my docs are in the way, so I'm going to reset my OBS docs if that's anybody cares. Okay. Let's talk about some things we're looking forward to coming up for the year. These are I limited us to 5, Keith, so we wouldn't run out of time. I know you've got
0,
so we'll see in real time. I'm going to go first, folks. Oh, that's Keith's thing. We'll come back to it. I just wanted to tease it.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to tease it.
I'm really excited about it.
Keith, there is a video game that I was not on my radar. But because Keith and Mike have been doing Let's Plays, and in fact, we're going to be recording one later tonight, and once I grab a beer, that's my new favorite Friday night activity, get wasted and play games with Keith. But there's another game. I loved the Telltale Adventures back in the day. The Walking Dead Telltale Adventures, the Wolf Among Us. They're basically animated stories, Keith, and you walk around and solve some puzzles. They're kind of point and clicky, but mostly you're just making decisions. So you're presented with a binary amount of choices, and your game, choose your own adventure, changes based on those things. I'm really excited, and I learned that there's one upcoming in the Star Trek universe called Star Trek Resurgence.
Ah, yes.
And I am juiced for it. I didn't think I would be, but now I am.
We're not allowed to play it till we get through 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine.
No, that's
so
incorrect.
In 3 years,
that's not.
You're allowed to play it.
No, it is going to be released. They are aiming for PC and console release April 2023. Developer is Dramatic Labs. It takes place after the events of Star Trek The Next Generation, telling its story from an alternate perspective of 2 different characters, First Officer Jara Rydek and engineering crew person Carter Diaz, with gameplay said to consist of playable cinematic sequences and an experience in the same vein as interactive narrative adventures pioneered by Telltale Games. Dramatic Labs was founded by the former Telltale Games boss Kevin Bruner, and includes around 20 former Telltale employees. So that means the pedigree is right down what I'm excited about. Our love and admiration for Star Trek is instrumental. We're proud of what we have accomplished, and this continues to be a passion project for everyone here. We're incredibly grateful and excited to be able to work within a universe that means so much to so many. We can't wait to take you on an adventure unlike any Star Trek game that's come before. And that's all I have to say about it, Keith. I'm enjoying our time in the Star Trek universe, banging our head against the wall in our final Unity playthrough. We are going to continue that. So this is going to give us another something to play and look forward to with a little better graphics.
No, and I'm super excited about it. I love that it's set in the post next gen time frame. So we're not in the 30 years later, because like I really want to know. I want to play in what our timeline would be like 2002, 2003, 2004, not in 2022. That's really exciting. I'm just worried about DS9 spoilers, buddy.
Well, come April, we'll see where we're at. You know what I mean? Like, we'll
I don't think we're going to be done Deep Space Nine by April.
Well, by then there'll be a wiki for this game, and you can at least read the plot.
That's true. I'll have to I'll have to be the adult and fast forward, see if there's any boobs in it, and make sure that you don't see it.
Totally.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So you want to go, or should I go through
Sure,
all mine?
I'll go.
Yeah. What do you got for me?
Yeah. All right. So the first geeky thing that I'm looking forward to coming up next weekend. I can't believe I'm saying this, Mike. You have ruined me in so many different ways. I'm excited for the Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, baby!
To find out if the megalomaniacal rapist comes back. But I really just want to. I want to see like other people return other than Vince McMahon. But he's going to show up. but I'm excited to see what happens because of the hot mess behind the scenes. But also, I find the Royal Rumble oddly entertaining. It's crap wrestling, and it's just utter nonsense. But all the entrances, I just I don't care as much about the wrestling. I love the theatrics of it all. I love the entrances of it all and the nonsense. So Royal Rumble is a pay-per-view that I enjoy. I watched Royal Rumble 1992 just last night with the infamous Ric Flair Rumble.
The wrestling, as my kind of love for that has really kind of died down in recent years. The only thing I like anymore are the pay-per-views, because it's an excuse to get together with my brother and our friend Ronnie, who's a friend from the olden days. I met him in kindergarten, and we all get together generally once every few months for the big paper. Not even every pay-per-view, just the big ones. Your Royal Rumble, your WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. Those are basically the only ones. Survivor Series used to be a thing, but no longer. The Royal Rumble, of the finish of WrestleMania, that WrestleMania is over 2 nights, so you can't even, it's not even an event. It's like it's like camping out for a new Apple gear. It's like a whole thing. But Royal Rumble, it's 1 day, and it's what you said. It's all of the things we care about. It's wrestling realizing what it is, that it's just theatrics and fan service. Royal Rumble is all fan service. It's cheap pops. It's bring back old guys. All of a sudden, Jimmy Snook is there. He's coming in. He's hobbling down to the ring. Who's going to be first? Who's last? Where are the big spots? And then
he's tired from murdering.
If you went to like me, I like to watch sitcoms I've watched a million times just to watch the extras extra. Royal Rumble, except for the big spots and the finishes and when people get tossed out, it's not planned in any way. And a lot of times it's just big guys get tired and lean on each other in the corner and just kind of... So watch the terrible wrestling is very funny. So Royal Rumble, Keith, I'm totally on board, 100%.
Yeah, and I love, like, every year there's one scrub who hits the ring and is tossed out immediately.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Second thing I want to talk about, already did that. Starfield. This is the video game for me. It is all anticipation. It's all hype because it's everything I love. So it's two-parter. First of all, for those of you who don't know, somehow, Starfield is the next gigantic Bethesda game release, Bethesda Game Studios. It will be day and date to Game Pass. So if you're a Game Pass subscriber, it sounds like you are, Keith.
No.
You should be. You have Xbox and you don't have Game Pass?
Not bad.
Game Pass is
old.
$9 a month, and you get all of these millions of games. Game Pass is the best value in gaming, 100,000%. Anyway.
No, I don't game enough.
Okay. Still worth it.
That's my problem.
There was a cheap deal at one point. I think I'm Game Passed up for the next 5 years. I got it for $6 or whatever. They do crazy things sometimes. Anyway, Bethesda. If you're a role play gamer like I am, you know Fallout. The Fallout series is this post-apocalyptic wasteland where the game basically is like, here's a loose narrative, here is this gigantic universe, there are millions of stories to find and to play, go at it. I love that. At least I did when I had time to do that. And then this other games I loved were the Mass Effect series, which was just an epic, sprawling sci-fi space adventure. What if you could marry them and they have a baby? Give me Todd Howard's mind. He's the creator of Fallout and head of Bethesda in a sci-fi universe where you're just this explorer. You get to make your own character and go out and live all these stories. Over 1,000 explorable planets. 1,000. Of those, I think 5% are actually curated and the rest are procedurally generated, something like that. But the thing Bethesda does better than any other game, really, is they do so much environmental storytelling. So you, in Fallout at least, you might be out there, Keith, just in the wasteland, rummaging around, and you come about this old house. Red Dead does this very well too. And there's no characters in there that tell you anything, but you find some pieces of paper, or you find this skeleton that looks really small and an old tattered teddy bear, and you put it together that, oh, this crazy sad thing happened and this little girl was left there to die and she's just bones now. That's a very dark example, but that's all told through the environment. There's no NPC that comes up and it's like, there was a baby here. That's what Bethesda's all about. Put that into sci-fi, put that into space. It is Mike Candy. This game has been delayed so many times. I think it's 3 years late at this point. I'm all about waiting if it's going to be worth it. My biggest gaming anticipation this year is Starfield. Still doesn't have a release date. I'm guessing probably spring, more likely fall 2023. That's my hope. Keith?
Broadway Hit Points Season 4. We'll be starting up in the spring. Broadway Hit Points is the Dungeons and Dragons show that I do with a bunch of other theater folks, run by West Hyler, theater director, and we have these characters we've been playing for years. A lot of them died in season 3, but luckily Bart the Basher survived.
Yes.
We'll be continuing into season 4. It's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but it's filled with musical theater nonsense. And we did a big battle through the Andrew Lloyd Webber verse in season 3. Did the Sondheim verse in season 2. There's always absolute utter drunken chaos, like you would imagine. It's pretty funny, and you can check it all out. We drop on playbill.com, and you can see all of season 3 on Playbill right now. So that's going to be super fun. I gotta get ready to Bart once again here in the basement.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know, probably not our audience, but there are people who kind of bristle at Dungeons and Dragons because it's there's a lot of rules and stuff. The best thing I found about some Dungeons and Dragons podcasts and or video podcasts that I listen to, and there are a few, is that you don't really need to know any of that stuff. At the end of the day, it's just long form storytelling. So if you like storytelling and hysteria, I think that Broadway Hit Points is probably for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we rules be damned. Right. We realize, I think there's sort of a breakdown of D&D people. There are some people who know that D&D is comedy, and there are some people who think it's drama. And hey, I don't want to yuck your yum, live your life, but let me tell you, it's way more fun if you realize it's a comedy. And the funnier thing is always the thing to do. Mm-hmm. And we live by that rule. So there it is. Check that out.
Okay, well, that leads me to, I believe, yes. Where did I put it? No, boy. Here we go. I want to talk a couple movies. So my I was looking through some of the scheduled releases of 2023, and there's too much good stuff. You got your Mission Impossible, you've got your Guardians of the Galaxy 3, there's all these things, but I narrowed it down to just 2 choices, and the first of which, I know she's excited about this first movie.
She's really excited.
And that is Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. This is the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse that was released a few years ago. And it is a Sony property. So Sony did, they let Spider-Man go into the Marvel universe. They lent him out, but they do still own him. And this is one of the properties they're doing. It follows Miles Morales and a couple of other Spider-Man. I don't want to give too much away in case you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse. Keith, have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
I have, and I loved it. It's great.
I thought it was the best superhero movie in a decade amongst all of this Marvel stuff happening. I just thought it had so much whimsy. It took so many chances. It advanced animation, the way they did this sort of half-scale framing, and I don't even know what it was. It was filmed at 20 frames per second.
And all the different styles.
And all the different styles for the different characters. I'm not a rewatcher. There are a few movies that I like the newer things. Jen and I were just talking about this last night. We went back and watched Guffman. There are only a handful of movies that I like to rewatch. I watch Into the Spider-Verse any chance I get. So finally to get the sequel, and it's broken up into 2 parts, which is not something I generally love. Just more of this property works for me. So directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Ken Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. An incredible cast, returning and new people. This is released by Sony. Release date currently June 2nd, 2023. I hope it sticks to that, Keith. I imagine you're pumped too then.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'll definitely watch it when it gets up on the streaming platforms. And
this is not a go to the movie for you.
I don't go to the movies.
Yeah, we're gonna get you there someday.
I don't, but I think part of it is because I am a dedicated rewatcher. I
Ah,
love rewatching stuff that I like. There's so many times where
interesting difference between us. Yeah.
I would rather watch something that I know that I like than try something new sometimes. And maybe that just means I'm an old crusty fart, but I think everybody here knows that.
It also shouldn't surprise me since all we do together is rewatch shows you've watched already.
100%. That's all I want to do. I want to talk about stuff I already like. It's tough. I'm that way with people too. So we'll worry about that.
All right, so Keith, I think it brings you up. Number 3.
Very quickly, very, very simply. And I know that people have very strong feelings about new Trek, but I'm excited for Picard season 3. You know, I've had my misgivings about both season 1 and season 2 of Picard. Season 2 started off great and then kind of lost its way, but I found it very emotionally satisfying at the end. Would I want my Trek to just be a continuation of 90s Trek? For me personally,
Probably.
yeah, probably 100%. Although, I think the people who bristle at its progressiveness are missing the damn point of Star Trek. And just because it might have progressed past your progressiveness doesn't mean the whole point of Star Trek is to be pushing us further further into the universe and making us better people. And if you're starting to push back on it, you are now the old folks who didn't like it back in the 60s when, they have minorities on the bridge and they're talking to the white people? What? Or it's like, just keep an eye on what side of the fence you're on. Try to keep up. However, tonally, storytelling wise, in terms of the sort of endless, it's not hysteric, the endless like stakes that are perpetually frantic, so you never have anything to go to. I think of the later seasons of this new generation of Trek. I think when you're always shouting, be it emotionally, be it pew pew, be it the universe is dying, whatever. It's hard to get excited. It's hard to ramp yourself up because you're always shouting at that level. So I would love for them to be able to settle in a little bit and not be quite so frantic.
I guess my question to you, and just in general, because I watched the first half of season 1 of Picard.
Yeah.
And I do have interest in returning. I won't say it's complaint. What kind of kept me from? There's so much to watch, obviously, and the stakes were high, but the show felt very slow paced, like more of a meditation than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Does it maintain that vibe, or does it pick up a little bit in urgency?
Yes. Season 2, season 1 does pick up, and season 2 is at a much higher pace. It's funny for the because for a guy doing a show about Deep Space Nine and loving, the thing I love most about Deep Space Nine is the serialization. I think that I'm only in season 3 of Discovery, and Picard, it suffers from over serialization, where I really like to settle in and do some episodes of Trek, and it never really settles in and allows it to mix standalone episodes and big universe saving stuff. And I know Strange New Worlds does that, and I'm excited to get into that. But yeah, I mean, my only complaint about that would just be like, it doesn't have to be life and death every week. Can we just settle in and have an episode or two? I don't mind the meditation if it's. I mean, I like the meditation, but it has to be as part of a story, not the story.
Okay.
That would be my complaint. Anyway, I'm excited for season 3. They're bringing back the entire next gen cast. I have a feeling the things that I struggle with, I'm probably still going to struggle with. nonetheless, because it's also pretty bleak, uh, and I'd love for it to have a little bit more light in the world. I understand, like, the world is bleaker now than it was in the 90s. Nonetheless, I'm very excited about getting the gang back together, and just, I don't really care as long as I see my buddies back on screen. I'm excited.
Yeah, you know what? I want to see them too, so I guess I'm gonna have to jump back in. Okay, folks. The next one I want to talk about, of all those movies, I'm coming back to my boy Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Release date scheduled for June 30th, 2023. Now listen, I hear you. Crystal Skulls wasn't good, but
No.
they had an agenda. They were trying to pass off the character. They were trying to give us young Indy with what's his bucket, that terrible guy. What's his
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. Look, nobody wants Shia. Neither do they. In fact, thanks to Consequence of Film, quote, when asked about passing off the character to another character, Harrison Ford once said, "I'm Indiana Jones. When I'm gone, he's gone." So it's a real treat for indie superfans to be able to see the iconic 80-year-old actor suiting up one more time with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Antonio Banderas, Shawnette Renee Wilso along for the ride. First Indy Jones film without Steven Spielberg in the director's chair, so that does give you pause. But James Mangold, come on. I'm going to name off some of the movies. Tell me if they're not bangers. Logan, the best.
Great.
3:10 to Yuma.
I haven't seen it, but I know it's good.
Shot beautifully. And then Ford versus Ferrari, which I did not see.
I enjoyed Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, so I think it's in good hands. The action looks great. It looks like it's got that indie vibe. And I just want to see Harrison Ford succeed. I just want to see it work.
No, and I'm also excited because it looks like, I mean, from what little that we've seen, looks like they finally might have made successful de-aging.
Ish, yeah.
I mean, certainly better than it has been.
For sure.
So I'm excited for that, for sure.
And he just looks so badass. You can't, it's always indie. You know what I
It's
mean?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right, Keith, you got something for me?
Sure. I have coming up this season on Broadway. There are two musical revivals that I'm excited to see. One of them is Parade. This is the City Center transfer of Jason Robert Brown's Parade, which I did not see at City Center, but I had friends whose opinion I respect say it was phenomenal. I think it is Jason's most successful show, most successful score. It's heartbreaking and beautiful, and I can't wait to see it on the Broadway stage because I missed it the first time around.
I even go to see if there's a little community theater doing Parade anywhere, I go see Parade. I love Parade, and I have a secret dream in my heart to at least get seen for that production in the transfer.
You'd be great. Yeah. You'd be great in that part. And the second one, kind of dovetailing with it, is the giant Sweeney Todd revival. I hope Josh Groban can pull it off from an acting standpoint, but I have a feeling it's going to be a really exciting production. It's got full giant score, giant cast, huge production. Sweeney done at the volume of Sweeney and the scale of Sweeney we haven't seen since the Angela Lansbury days and the George Hearn days. I know it's Len Cariou in New York, but those of us who are a little bit younger,
we should all go together to see that.
100%, definitely.
Oh, so excited. I want to hit.
We went
small dreams. I want to see Keith do Sweeney.
I'd be a good Sweeney.
You'd be an insane. I would love. You know what? Give me my druthers. I want to see that.
Oh yeah, I'd choose some scenery. But yeah. So those of us who watched the DVD of the touring production shot in Los Angeles, but still had Angela Lansbury. But that's why we have George Hearn in our heads and our voices. I told him once. He was very nice about it. Anyway, what else is up, Mike?
Well, Keith, I don't know. Do you have a number 5? Because I think this one might speak for both of us.
I think that great. Have it count for both of us.
Well, folks, Keith hasn't read Fairy Tale yet. We have told him to read it. It's the latest Stephen King novel.
Oh, right. Okay.
You should check it
out.
out.
I don't even remember what it was.
But hopefully you get it done in time because September of 2023, we've got Holly, Stephen King's next novel. And this does feature Holly Gibney from Mr. Mercedes and from The Outsider. which was an HBO property. If you haven't watched that, check that out. They
Is it
adapted
good?
it for HBO. It's very good.
I mean, I love Cynthia Erivo.
Oh, did you read the book?
No.
Great adaptation. You don't even have to read the book. I mean, you should read the book, but it's a great adaptation. And HBO, it's another HBO, shot well. The pacing is excellent. And now that it's all out, you can binge it, which is the way to go. HBO loves to do these drip releases. I just want to binge, but
I'm that way too.
high recommend.
Somebody made me watch the Last of Us premiere without having any more episodes to watch.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, everything Stephen King does, I love. Even the ones I like go in and I'm like, nah, I don't know if I'm going to love this. Thinking Billy Summer, still loved it. And I have no doubt, I like his crime stuff, and I really liked the Mr. Mercedes stuff. So it jumped the shark a little bit at the end for me, but because I was loving how grounded it was, and then it got away from that. But regardless, The Outsider brought me back in to that kind of world, feet in both worlds world, and I'm excited to see what they do with the Holly character. In fact, I've seen it played by two different actresses on screen, and just like you, I can't now when I read, I can't get Cynthia Erivo out of my head.
I mean, it's pretty hard to get Cynthia Erivo out of your head if you have ever seen her perform or sing. There have been some phenomenal Sealies in Color Purple, and I have seen most of them live. I saw the original production. I saw when Fantasia came in. She was amazing, but nobody will sing it better than Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah.
My God. But she's doing Elphaba in the movie.
Yes.
That's, for me, that is the number one reason to watch the Wicked movie is Cynthia Erivo, because she will sing the ever-loving poop.
But they're doing that thing, like I just said, I don't like. They're making it two movies separated a year from each other. So it's just
silly.
So silly. So you got to wait Christmas to Christmas. I mean, it's all the money. They're going to make all the money.
I hate movie musicals anyway. I'll just buy the soundtrack. I don't care about seeing it.
Yeah, it's like somebody worked their ass off to curate this experience and cut all the stuff down to like a 2-hour experience, 2.5 hours.
But they have to write a new song. They have to write like 6 new songs for it. Because the one thing Wicked needs is more songs.
Yeah. And less diction, Ariana Grande. Sorry. We're not those people. You know what? Good luck.
I love Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is talented inside and out. All right.
She seems very great. Yeah, I don't know her.
I do not know her either. All right. So I have one last thing to talk about, and it's a piece of tech, Mike.
Okay.
So I as somebody who does music and broadcasting and talking for a living and spend a lot of time listening to things, both in headphones and with these in-ear monitors that I use on the show, my hearing and my ears are very important to me. That's a big old deal. But when I went to get my physical, Dr. Jack is like, "Oh my God, it's like a horror show in there. You're like, I'm amazed you're able to hear anything." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm putting in the drops and I'm flushing it and doing all the nonsense, trying to get the wax out. It doesn't really work. this is all kind of gross, and I apologize, but it's cool tech.
Old guys.
I'm getting to the cool tech of it all.
Okay.
So a million things don't work. And then I see a TikTok ad for an otoscope.
I saw that ad too, where the guy's like,
yeah. So I went on Amazon, $25, right? And what it is, it's an actual otoscope with a 1080p camera, wireless camera.
Why the hell do you want to see it?
So you can grab it. So you're literally watching on your phone, you can see from the picture there, into your ear canal with a light, and you can literally pull the wax out while you're actively watching it on your phone. And it took me like 90 seconds to solve a problem I have been working on for months. But that's all gross. But here's the thing. For $25, you get
that was bad.
For $25, you get a tiny camera lit, wirelessly connected to your phone, USB-C charged. The tech of it is mind-blowing.
There's you drop something down there's probably other applications where that come in handy. Like what's the scale of it? Like, could you go in? No, I mean, like, I'm trying to think how we could use like you could probably get up a toys like, you know, inside something if you wanted to.
Mike, technically you could put this inside lots of different things, and I wish you the best. I'm not here to
It's not what I was trying
to shame you with your choices of tiny cameras and what orifices you stick the tiny camera in. But it's the image. I'm just impressed by the tech of it all, and I'm impressed that it's $25, and you can just
no doubt.
It showed up the next day, and like boom, there it is. So, yeah, I suppose like if you drop something down a crack, you want to know what's down there. This is a great way because it's basically, you know, the actual thing that goes in your ear is very small, and the rest of it's like a size of a pen. Yeah. It's not even. It's less wide than a Sharpie. So anyway, cool tech.
That is cool tech. I'm down.
I just picked a random one on Amazon, but it was it worked, and I mean, certainly China now owns my entire life because I connected this to my phone. But to be fair, they already did.
That's fair.
So there it is.
Well, there you go, Keith. We did it in under an hour this week, which is lovely. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We
and
do
our
some
patrons.
We haven't done patrons, yes, but we will now. Keith, who are we thanking with all of our heart?
Oh, let me tell you, we are thanking Brian Kaufman, Casey Clark, Cloud Lover 69, Jason Moe, Andrew Hayes, Jorge Navoa, and the Mysterious Wharfs, Boot Shivs, CRM Productions, Charles Babbage, Nikolai Ivanovich Lobachevsky at Grim Toys, Delusions at Noon, and Eric Wilson.
You can join them and be part of the team. Patreon.com/K&M. You get all kinds of other good stuff. But if you're here on the YouTube with us and you stumbled upon us because of algorithm, we do some other shows.
Unlikely.
Well, it's true. Deep Space Nine, we watch it every week. We talk about Star Trek toys, and then we talk geeks. Blah, 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 blah. Only our passionate fans even made it this far. But let me tell you, until next week, folks, we'll be back. Don't let anyone yuck your yum. Keep on doing the things you find fun and keep on geeking on. We'll see you next week.
Yes, indeed.